Perhaps what's one of the biggest problems we have here in the United States is rampant hypocrisy. And what's the great tragedy that we have? What's preventing us from all being tolerant and being developing a brotherhood and a community and a sense of togetherness? Rampant hypocrisy. What is the great big divide between the right and the left right now? Rampant hypocrisy. And nowhere is that any more clear than issues of race, which is why I'm always talking about race. To put this in sort of a more digestible, clear context, the other day I made an angry video about a video game. I usually only do these every once in a while because I don't expect my regular viewership to really give a shit about video games, nor do I intend to have this channel be anywhere close to mostly about video games. I just do that sometimes because I care about video games. Whatever, take it or leave it. But somebody went and got butthurt at me and referred to me as somebody who has the condition of angry white man syndrome. Well, you guys know if you watch my channel that I yell and I swear a lot. And I get angry a lot. Sometimes I really am that mad. And sometimes it's theatrical exaggeration. Mostly for the point of entertainment value. I really like angry, furious comedians, particularly Lewis Black. Anytime you see me do this to the camera, it's a direct homage to Lewis Black himself. But this person who called me an angry white man and described it as a syndrome, like it's something like an epidemic. They didn't mean it as a description of me. It is true that I am an angry white man. But the context they clearly said it in was not a description. It was a pejorative. Why do they say it like that? Why do they say it like it's an insult? Well, in leftist culture, white men have no right to ever be angry. White men also never have any right to be sad, and white men have no right to sympathy. This is why you saw an epidemic of hysterical leftists saying, oh, everybody deserved Hurricane Harvey because white people and Trump, and everybody deserved Hurricane Irma because of white people and Trump, and everybody deserved to get mowed down at that concert at the Mandalay Bay Casino in Las Vegas because white people and Trump. You know, by the way, there was a black male victim amongst the dead. He also happened to be a veteran. But veterans don't deserve any sympathy because American imperialism and white people and Trump. Why? The left claims to be the anti-racist party, and yet, and the anti-bigot party, and the anti-assumption-making, dismissive party. They think they're against dismissiveness. They think they're against racism. They are the party of racism. They are the party of dismissing people. They are the party of dehumanizing people. That is why dozens can die, and their only response is you deserved it for the color of your skin, for your choice in music, for your support of gun rights. You deserve to die. People have reacted negatively every time I've made that statement. Leftists think you deserve to die if you disagree, and yet I keep getting proven right every single time because they really do think that way. They are the party of dehumanization. This means that they are hypocritical because when they throw a fit on behalf of Muslims, or they throw a fit on behalf of black people, or they throw a fit on behalf of the women's, and they throw a fit on behalf of this and that and the other thing, they're hypocrites because they're not the party of togetherness and they're not the party of anti-discrimination because of the inherent Marxism, the communism in current leftist ideology. There always has to be an oppressor-oppressee dynamic. Nobody can be unfortunate. Nobody can be unlucky. Nobody can be a victim of circumstance. There is always an agent, usually one that's completely unfalsifiable and nebulous, undefined. White people, whiteness, white supremacy, systemic racism. They will never ever define these terms because they can't afford to. The facts do not support the reality of any such claims. Those are false. Those are lies. And I also don't like how they claim that their enemies are the ignorant ones, because most of the time, definitely not all the time, I feel like I'm making a mistake by describing them as lying. I think it's entirely possible, due to Hanlon's razor, that they're not necessarily maliciously lying. They're so phenomenally ignorant and willfully ignorant that they don't know any better. They've developed a black and white method of thinking where there's always an oppressor, always an oppressee, and everything's always one thing or the other. There's no such thing as being a victim of circumstance in leftist ideology. If something bad happens to you, it's because of your race. And if somebody ever wrongs you, it's because of their race, or their ethnicity, or their sexuality, or their religion. And this is simply not the way reality works. These people are in full flight from reality. And this is the source of their rampant hypocrisy. This is why they're almost always acting out of either a subconscious or very conscious hatred of somebody, which is why it's laughable, why everybody laughs at them when leftists yell about hate this and fuck Trump's hate and all this shit. Now, keep in mind that Trump is hateful because he's against Islamic extremism and terrorism and murder. Trump is anti-other races because he's anti-illegal immigration. These things don't add up. Trump has a lot of Hispanic supporters. Not ever as much as the Democratic Party, but that might be rapidly changing, because a lot of Hispanic people aren't looking to be patronized. They aren't looking to be victim bucks for the great leftist machine. A lot of them like their integrity, their agency, and their dignity. And a lot of them don't want to compete with illegal immigrants because a lot of Mexicans aren't illegal immigrants. They came here legally. You also notice that Hispanics are very underrepresented in leftist collectivist politics. There is quite a few La Raza types, but a lot of them are about their family, their kin, and themselves. And their family as in the people they are blood related to, not everybody who shares their race. And as such are not really all that inclined to fall into the trap of I am my race. Because they're like, I am not my race. I am my name. I am me. I am my family. I'm not you. I don't fucking know you. Who the fuck are you? Don't speak for me. You can't fucking speak for me. I have dignity and integrity. That's within my culture. Fuck you. And that's why they don't have that same kind of death grip they do on the perpetual victim culture of black people. And even such, there's still plenty of black people who are not all about that I am my race shit. A lot of them are about I am about me. And that's healthy selfishness. It is perfectly rational to care about yourself first. And that is why it's particularly tragic that so many leftists are willing to sacrifice themselves for their religiously fucking crazy cause. That is why there's so many rape victims who work amongst leftist organizations that are pro-Islamic immigrants, Islamic migrants, which I always don't like calling them refugees ever, because the vast majority of these people who are flooding Europe are not from Syria. They're not refugees. That is literally an improper title. They're not refugees. They are migrants. All right? And unfortunately, they come from a culture where rape is normal. Rape is common. Rape is not punished by law. So they tend to frequently rape people, especially the people they're closest to, with these Western women. And a lot of them won't report it. And a lot of them won't report it not because they're fear of any kind of leftist backlash. It's not because they won't report it because really any other reason other than they don't want to hurt the person who raped them. Oh, he doesn't know any better. He doesn't know any better. He doesn't deserve to be punished for violently raping me and taking away my sexual fucking dignity and all that shit. He doesn't deserve to be punished because he's a poor little migrant. And there's another piece of leftist hypocrisy. Who else is racist but these leftists? You know, it doesn't matter what happened to me. I am white. I don't get to complain. I have angry white man syndrome. They don't give a shit about me. They don't give a shit about any sort of justice or injustice I might have experienced. I'm white. I'm not entitled to equality. I'm not entitled to justice. I am the oppressor. I am evil because of the color of my skin. I cannot stress enough how flagrantly racist this is. And even in their benevolence, leftists are racist. Why not report this man for brutally raping you? Well, because he's brown, he doesn't know any better. He's not capable of not raping people. He's a savage, a poor little savage who needs to be coddled and needs to be held to a lower standard than the rest of us because he's not capable of being civilized. How is that not racist? It's what's called the racism of low expectations. Black people can't be expected to not steal and not do drugs and not form gangs. Why? Because they've been oppressed for so long. They're not capable of making a dignified decision. They're not capable of going to school, applying themselves, going to college, applying themselves, and getting the kind of job that anybody who does that can get regardless of race. No. They're incapable of none of that because they're black. What black person wouldn't be insulted by such a statement? This is why there's plenty of people in our little YouTube skeptic toxic community who are black men, who are tired of it, looking to take back their dignity and sense of personal responsibility in the interest of bettering themselves. All right? And that's noble. And that's something anybody can do. Anybody can care about the truth. Anybody can develop a sense of personal responsibility and stop blaming strangers for their problems. And this is noble no matter who does it. And the left is ignoble because its entire culture is built around refusing that responsibility and blaming somebody else. So I'm an angry white man because it's my fault. Slavery, my fault. Colonialism, my fault. The death of all the Native Americans, my fault. Oh, all this happened hundreds of years before I was born? Doesn't matter, white skin. What rationally thinking person can get past this ridiculousness? This in-your-face bullshit. I am that angry because the claim is that insane and harmful. Not just to white men, but to everybody. It's harmful to Muslims. Muslims can't be brought into the first world when people let them rape. Black people cannot be brought into economic prosperity and national acceptance if they don't, apply themselves and work for their shit like everybody else. Who here has any problem with any of these rap stars? Who here has any problem with black actors? Who here has any problem with black CEOs, black stock traders, black politicians? Some small minority of racists might be unwilling to accept any success for any black person because they're black. But any rational person who cares about the content of a person's character and the productivity of their work over their skin and their sex, who here is upset at the success of such a black man? Nobody. But who here is more than willing to tell some hood rat to shut the fuck up? Everybody. Including the people who never stop telling some white trash idiot yokel to not vote against food stamps when he's on them. To not vote against government health care when he doesn't have insurance. Who has failed to mock that guy? Regardless of whether he's white or not. The stereotype is that he's white. Who has failed to mock that guy? Nobody. Now, there are definitely certain conservatives who think that they shouldn't have food stamps and you shouldn't have a government health care and should have to work for it. And those conservatives who say that have a point. Okay, I'm not saying that they're completely wrong. I'm saying that some people need that help. Because there is such a thing as complete economic depression and stagnation, where you're spinning your wheels just to pay the bills, and you can't get past that. And we should help those people. And unfortunately, there will always be abusers of the welfare system. And we should do something about those people. I personally think the whole issue is in between. But I didn't mean to go through every last bit of fucking policy. The point is, You can't say you're anti-racist and then every word out of your mouth is racist. You can't say that you're against sexual discrimination and then anytime a man raises an issue that is rather unique to men, he's told to shut up because men have all the power. No, they don't. Some men have a lot of power and a lot of men have none. Some women are oppressed and a lot of women are not. Some black people are downtrodden and experience racism. A lot don't. Races do not get to claim that they are oppressed whenever convenient. Races don't get to be described as super powerful whenever it's convenient, and then whenever they're meant to be disparaged against, all of a sudden they're fragile and weak. You cannot have your cake and eat it too. That is a logical contradiction. It is not possible to hold cake in your hands when it's in your fucking stomach. That's why I'm an angry white man. Because you're a fucking idiot and a liar. And nobody got time for that shit. Thanks for watching.